John Cairns loves a detailed plan. Anyone who's seen his in-depth Bagpipe Solutions series of instructional manuals will recognize the military precision of his personality. Cairns recently announced he would step down as pipe major of the Peel Regional Police Pipe Band at the end of the 2025 competition season. Providing 6 months' notice to the 125-player strong Peel organization is all part of the succession plan he put in place to mitigate disruption when section leaders inevitably move on. After more than 20 years at the head of the Peel Police, the last thing John Cairns wants to see is that his efforts evaporate, not to mention the risk that surprise leadership changes can inflict on the viability of a pipe band. Because of careful succession planning, the Peel Regional Police will have new leaders in all three positions. Pipe Sergeant Mike Allegretti will take over as pipe major, joining lead drummer Cameron McHale and midsection leader Colin McHale, both of whom took on their roles in 2024. Cairns will work with Allegretti throughout the 2025 competition year to help with an orderly and smooth transition. Compare that with the all-too-frequent sudden departure of leaders, leaving band members wondering what to do, frequently abandoning ship rather than risk losing opportunities elsewhere. Succession planning seems to be an obvious thing to do, but relatively few pipe bands bother with it. Perhaps they're in denial, or even perhaps that the leaders actually want the band to fizzle when they leave. It's been known to happen. We wanted to learn more about the Peel Police succession plan so that other bands might be inspired to develop their own detailed and transparent strategy when eventualities rise, as they always do with every pipe band, association, or business. We spoke with John Cairns.
It's Pipes Drums, and we are talking with John Cairns. John is the pipe major of the Grade 2 Peel Regional Police Pipe Band in Ontario, and John has just announced that he will be retiring after this coming season. So, John, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us about retirement and succession planning and all kinds of things.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
So, you've been about 20 years, shocking to say, at the head of the Peel Regional Police Pipe Band. Um, Maybe some highlights that come to mind.
One of them, the first time we won at Georgetown, the grade one contest at Georgetown was huge because the band had been struggling somewhat before I came here, and we slowly started to build and build and build the caliber of the band, and to have it finally come together in Georgetown like that was really, really a thrill. Coming off the winning the first Maxwell was in grade one was also a huge thrill. But one of the ones that I remember the most is when I first came to the band. When you at Maxwell you play and you march off at the end, and everybody sort of scatters a bit, and they talk about how did the performance go and where are we going to go get a beer, this sort of thing. And when we came off, they were clapping, and when we dismissed and sort of still started talking, they were still clapping, which was a huge thing for me because it was people who were showing sort of that they really enjoyed what we were doing, and that was, the prizes are great, but to get that sort of recognition was just wonderful.
Yeah, it's that kind of feedback I can imagine would be very gratifying.
Yeah.
There'll be some more highlights to come, I'm sure, this coming season. But at the outset, I think almost you talked about having a succession plan. For the leadership of the band, to want to ensure that the band was going to be left in good hands, all your bands, I guess, the organization. Um, and now you're actually implementing it. So tell us a little bit more about how that's worked.
Well, we all get older, unfortunately, and I think part of the responsibility of being a leader is not just to think about the now, but to think about what's going to happen tomorrow. And the last thing I want to do is or would want to do, would be to just think about what's good for me, and then when I'm done with it, say, see ya, and let the chips fall where they do, because all the effort and the work I put into it, I don't want that to happen. I want the band to be successful after I'm gone. If I do this correctly, my goal is that, it's just like I hand over the keys, and things just continue on. So we had Harvey Dawson, I was lead, Reagan Jones was the men's section lead, and myself. And this, due to circumstance, this sort of got the ball rolling. And Harvey was being away every winter. It became clear that we needed to look at that plan first. and young Cam McHale came in and he's done a fabulous job of that. And Reagan just getting married, and her and her partner taking a year-long sort of trip around the U.S. as their honeymoon. Well, it became clear that that was time to look at that department, and Colin McHale came in to do that. So then I thought, okay, now it's my turn, and I wanted to make sure that the organization was strong, and that there was consistency and continuity um, between myself and the next person coming in. I'm really thrilled that Mike Allegretti is going to take this on. He's got the right temperament. He's a great teacher, and he's got great leadership skills, and a very, very, very good player. And I've been teaching him for 20 some years, and he's been pipe sergeant with me for 5 here, and we played together in the 78th for many years. So I have every confidence that they'll be able to continue on in a positive directions, and the people that are there won't be having to sort of readjust to some new expectation, because I think a lot of bands that do have changes in leadership, quite often the new leader takes them in a completely different direction, and you work so long to teach people how to do the way you want them to do things, that I think that's an important part.
The Peel Pipe Band is truly an amazing community. Since John decided that this was to be his last year, the support from the entire team at all levels, the players, their families, our sponsor, has truly been amazing. The kind words from the pipe band community, both domestically and abroad, have also been overwhelming, and thank you so much for your support. I'm so thrilled that I get one last season to play with John Cairns, and I'm excited to take this strong foundation that we have here now and start to build upon it. Exciting times ahead. Thank you for your continued support.
I remember Bill Livingston and I wandering around Glasgow Green years and years ago. We ran into Richard Parks, and we're asking him about how well he was doing, and he said one of the reasons was he had 10 or 12 guys that had been playing with him for over a dozen years. And Terry Tully would always talk and joke about the fact that he was able to be successful because he brainwashed his guys. And so I think teaching and getting people to learn to a certain skill set is absolutely important to improving. But then when the next person comes into lead, you want to ease into that position rather than having a radical change. So for me, I wanted to look at promoting internally, and Mike was a great choice.
Yeah, good stuff. It sounds like it's really just well thought out and a plan that really has come together, really, even though it's, you never really like to see the end. No one wants to see the end of your career. Um, but maybe a little bit of advice for what can other bands learn from your succession planning?
Well, I don't think there's any one specific way that it should be done. Everybody has to do what's best for them. But if I could suggest anything to other groups, it's be patient, take your time with it. It doesn't, and if you know that it's like we're taking this next year, and everything that happens throughout the year with the organization, I'm showing the new leadership what we've done and how it works with the police and all that sort of thing, so that they're ready to assume the role after I'm gone, and the learning curve is kept to a minimum. And so I think being sensitive to the fact that whoever does come in should come in a little bit more gradually than not an abrupt fashion, and that the people that are there, you're thinking about their ability to be successful under the new leadership, because last thing I want is somebody to come in and all the people that I've worked for so long get cast aside because they are not able to do the things that the new person wants them to do. So I felt a sense of responsibility to make sure that the people that I've worked with and have been so committed to me and the organization are not sort of left stranded.
It's good advice. Good to hear that. We also think about, when Peel Police got moved back to grade 2 a number of years ago. And that can be a situation for grade 1 bands that can be really debilitating at times. The facts are there. A lot of bands just don't even survive that kind of moving back. But Peel, I mean, been a model of success for keeping continuity and keeping the band strong and positive. Can you talk about that a little bit?
In reality, it was a gut punch, but it was the right thing that needed to happen. We had been existing with some level of success, but we've been existing with a huge percentage of distance players, and the police decided, why you got 45 people to go to Scotland, but we can only get 5 for a parade. And it became really apparent that we needed to make some changes. And they basically told us distance guys are out. So we looked around and who was available, and you had Hamilton Police with their grade 2 and all the kids, you had Windsor, you had Ottawa Police, Toronto Police, the 78, all these bands vying for the same pool of players. And quite honestly, if you're playing in one band and you're not going to make a lateral move to another band and give up your friends and all the history you've had with that organization, there's no real need to do that. So we came to the conclusion that let's take this as an opportunity rather than a negative, and think about how can we turn this around so that we are able to gradually train and develop our own crop of people so that we are not in that position again. And playing in grade 2 gave us that latitude. The expectations of that grade are hugely different, as you know, than they are in the grade 1. So we just started teaching, and we've bit by bit grown it, and now we have 120 some band members, grade 2, 3, 4, and 5, and a massive teaching program that we're only taking kids, and 97, 98% of the band is local now. So it's a complete 180 to what we had been doing before. And with time, we're hoping that we'll be able to continue to develop these young kids and keep raising the standard and hopefully move back up the ladder. There's no rush in that. We want to do this correctly, not quickly. And that's another reason why Mike's a great choice, and Cameron, Colin, because they agree with that idea. We want to do this, right. We're in no hurry to get back to grade 1, for example. And if that happens, great. But let's take as long as we can to elevate our standards so that if the band is elevated back to grade 1, you're not coming in at the bottom struggling with the same things we did when we were there before.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point. You've got people will be coming in who have been there, done that. They've weathered the storm, and they've come out, even stronger. It sounds like as a group, a real model of success. I think not just for Ontario, but for around the world. And I'm sure that the sponsors are thrilled having a lot of more youth in the piping and drumming programs. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're retiring after all these years. It's going to be a great season. Certain to enjoy it, I'm sure. But what are you looking forward to after everything is done on the competition side?
I am looking forward to spending time with my family and doing things like making a commitment like this, as you know, is if you're going to do it correctly, becomes a huge priority. In addition to your family and your work, it becomes a big commitment. And so I stopped doing workshops. I stopped doing a lot of judging. I'm hoping to be able to get back into that again because my weekends will be free. There's a lot of projects I had started, like my educational materials that just sort of got put on hold. I'd like to finish that. I still intend to play. I love playing, so I'm going to keep playing. I'm still teaching locally and online, and I really love to get involved. Like I live in London, Ontario, so I really like to get involved in teaching here. Just starting to teach a crop of kids and building up, continuing sort of what we're doing in Peel here locally, where I'm teaching new people to play. And if there's a local group that is interested in having me help out, I'll gladly help out. I don't want to be pipe major. I don't want to manage a band or anything like that. But I think it's really important to keep giving back. And if we can continue to develop and train young people to play, then those people are gonna move forward. Now, it's like any sport though. In London, I think they say there's like 10,000 kids play hockey, but only 1 or 2 of them might make the NHL. So we have to have the large number of kids coming in to learn, so that hopefully we'll get the 1 or 2 that can play in the grade 1 level. So it's just, I think it's important for me in my next sort of, as I move on to the next stage of my piping career, to start doing a lot of that.
Well, that's good to hear that you're going to be totally involved you're planning to be involved in piping and drumming going forward even after this season. And that's good news for Ontario and the rest of the world. So congratulations, John Cairns, on wrapping up a career. We'll congratulate you now, but we'll congratulate you again after everything is said and done in August. And look forward to the next step of what you have in your piping life.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
That's John Cairns. He's the retiring pipe major of the Grade 2 Peel Regional Police Pipe Band and that organization. Stay tuned for more from Pipes Drums coming soon.